We will thank everybody from coming from all over. I just haven't had a chance. All right. Well, now I have the pleasure of introducing an attorney from Montague who has been invaluable to us. He provides the sound for us. He's wonderful. Attorney Dave Wallace from Montague, New Jersey. Welcome.
Don't go. This lady Cheryl was having, she said she was having a nervous breakdown earlier. And Cheryl, can you count the people that are here? Can you count them? No, you can't count them, can you? One big reason you were here is because this lady pushed herself to the point of having a nervous breakdown. And it's not so much about Cheryl, but what are you afraid of? What stops you from getting people together to stand up for what you believe in? Is it because you're afraid? People who are afraid accomplish great things. And that's why we're here today. So if you could just give Cheryl a hand. And give yourself a hand.
Nice back action. Thank you.
And just a little more. You know, I heard something about somebody making these signs, that some crazy person was making signs about the Tea Party. And I know that we can make light of that. But if you stand up for what you believe in, you're going to be called crazy. You're going to be called a lot of other things.
Unpatriotic.
But you've got to stand up for what you believe in, even if you're called unpatriotic. So what's happening in this country now is really, really frightening. I don't know if anybody else feels the same way that I feel about that. There are tremendous forces that have conspired to take your freedom. They have put crushing debt upon this country. They have given away billions, and nobody knows where the money went. But you look at the paper, and you get on the internet, and you find out how much food American farmers planted this year. And ask yourself, why didn't the loans go to planting food for your children and your neighbors? We feel we don't have the resource to deal with this thing that's in Washington. But we so much want to get our lives back. How do we get our lives back, get our freedom back? Where's the hope? Where's the joy in our lives that we feel like these people are taking away from us? How do we show our kids what's right? Where are the examples in our leadership that we can lift up to our kids and say, that's how you stand up for principle, and that's how you lead people? Unfortunately, we're just not seeing those kinds of things in places where most of the money is, where most of the votes go, where most of the power is in this country. And we end up being told what to do by an unresponsive government that thinks we are a threat. They think you are the threat, not the strength of this country. But you are the strength of this country.
We are the power.
You are the strength of this country because you love your children, because you love freedom, because you love your community, and because you're not afraid of living the way God gave you strength to live.
Amen.
So what examples are we going to follow in this country? Congress is giving away billions, hundreds of billions of dollars away on the basis of bills that are so long they don't even read them. And when a responsible person stands up and says, let's understand what we're passing and where this money is going. They're told, what were they told? Do you remember what they were told in the fall? Martial law. They were told, you better be afraid, buddy. Congressman, you better be afraid. Fear-mongering. So, be afraid and don't be responsible. Don't use your judgment. Don't do the job that you were elected to do. Because God knows we'd rather worship fear than be responsible. Term limits. And if we are a nation under God, we have confidence to take the time to do our jobs the way we are to do our jobs. This is not how we act. Do we stop doing good because we are frightened by people in Washington? Even when maybe they threaten us, that day may come when people like this are directly threatened by the government for doing exactly what you're doing. And would it be the example that you want to give your children to stop doing your job simply because you become frightened and because people try to use fear against you? Fear of swine flu, fear of economic depravity, fear of terrorism. This is indeed a scary time.
Get that joke.
And like the congressmen, we are wondering, how is it that we are going to survive? Those congressmen are afraid for this country. But I fear for this country will men who control military appropriations, federal troops who build camp to hold hundreds of thousands of Americans, who prepare possibly even to suppress civil disobedience and orderly protest. I fear when they can be swayed by fear, by people who tell them to be afraid and to stop doing their job. Because the power that they have is very great. But you have to tell them, what are they capable of doing? What is Congress capable of doing? They have time to read the law. They're very smart people. In fact, those people do indeed have the fortitude to endure people shouting at a town meeting because they're angry. That's not a big deal. Tell your congressmen, you guys have the guts to do it. You can do it. You can stand up to the people who tell you to be afraid to try to control your vote in Congress. And you have the strength to give power back to the people like this.